Hey, it's me, Mammon. We are back on this world, like I said we would be. So I don't have progress yet. I think I've decided that I want to focus on just going through the building process. So yeah, I'm just gonna go over a bit of what we have planned for. Not today, just in general for this area over the next however long we do this. So yeah, this is going to be big city. I talked about this a bit last time. It's going to be a big city, got split into various different districts. So like, we'll go over a bit of that right now. So like, down here, kind of, this is all like the harbor, especially this area. Probably going to do some like cargo cranes that can get cargo. And then over here we'll have like an industrial district. I'm thinking with like a power plant maybe. I feel like we are possibly at the point where we can do that. Like I said last time, this area is kind of early industrial. I'm not sure if it might be too much of a stretch to do electricity in this era, but I do kind of just want to do it either way, just to have kind of a centerpiece for this industrial area. Yeah. Then over here, we've already got the statue. This was actually originally built for that church over there, but it was too big for that one. So I decided to have it here for a much larger, like, cathedral thing. So yeah, we're gonna have cathedral, like, around here, and then, like, fill up area with houses. And then over here, Mage's Guild, where we're gonna transform this island. Not sure exactly what we'll do for that yet. We'll see. It'll be a while. And then we'll fan it out into like suburbs as we go. But for now, we are mainly going to be focusing on the harbor. So I've already like changed up like underwater here. Here's like texture here. I made it much deeper. This was very shallow before, but now it's not. And I gave it like a little paint, although you can barely see it because the water's so opaque. I think starting out, I would like to do like sort of just kind of a stone. Oh, I need to slow down. Just sort of a stone, like jutting out bit. It's higher than this harbor section, this main pier section, so like we can stretch that in, stack it. Isn't Axiom like the best thing ever? You can just do that. It's so easy. Then at some point we'll texture this. Also put stairs going up. But yeah, I think that's roughly where we want to be with this. So we'll move this down. What do we think of that? Yeah, I think that probably works. Okay, well, I think we should continue this pattern here. There we go. And that's the path I'm done with. I'm not sure whether I want to do like houses for the dock workers along this. What is this? A wharf pier? I don't know the terms. I do want to do, as I said, cargo cranes. But as you can see, these are 45 degree angles, which makes building a whole lot tougher. But I feel like it could be pretty simple. We'll build these like in the air, I think. Though we'll frame it out on the ground. Just doing like this big. Good. Yeah, I can do stuff with Axiom probably. Let me see. Okay, so we want to do like a shape probably. I'm not super familiar. with the actual editor. I just used the basic tools. We want to do cuboid on a 45-degree angle. Enter. There we go. And that definitely needs to be sticking out more. Let's see. Do we want to keep it wood or do we want to go like a more metal direction? One thing's for sure, change out the foundation for something more solid. How about andesite? What do we think of this? Should be good. If I do like copper, it gives more of a heavy industrial feel, which is cool, but it might not be period appropriate. How about I'm gonna go with the copper for now. If we don't like it, we can always change it. I immediately don't like it. Let's do our good old friend spruce. And we can texture this with like oak. Maybe some acacia too. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. For now, we'll replace this all with spruce. We can texture each crane individually, even if it looks pretty ugly like this. Ooh, actually, I've just had an idea. Alter the shape of these a bit with mud. Yes. Yes. Actually, what do we think of polished tuff here? Ooh, I think I found something good here. Yeah. Have the occasional polished tuff mixed in with the mud. Creates a nice kind of reinforced texture to it. Yeah, okay, that's nice. It's like the sturdiness of the copper idea with the still kind of not quite perfected nature of the wood. That's good. Let's copy these. Okay, and then we do some horizontal support structures like so. Okay. Definitely needs more shape to it, which I'm not gonna neglect. I'd like to do like an arch sort of shape over the top. We're just gonna do it this way for now. I might do planks at the top, because keeping the directionality of the logs at this point is kind of iffy. Now that we have the tuff as a design motif, we can incorporate it up here. It looks kind of curved. Maybe if I just place this. There we go. Yeah, that looks much more angled now. I have to swap that bit out for a different wood or block or anything. But I think I like that shape. One issue, I do actually need the arm of the crane to run through here. So I might just actually scrap this entire new section here. We need like a counterweight, don't we? We just do a big old rock on the end, maybe? But yeah, I think that's about right. I would still like to have maybe the arm be different somehow. I don't know how exactly though. Maybe have it be out of oak or jungle or something. Or we could try it with the dark oak. I'm currently leaning towards the dark oak, because dark oak always goes super well with spruce. Alright, I think we've hit a banger with that. I think I'd also like to do some trusses. It's kind of hard to make trusses in this scale, but I mean, that works. then I think, how do we want it to actually like retract and stuff? Okay, that's kind of important, probably. I think I'm gonna leave it here for now. Sleep on it. Maybe do some actual research on how things like this were built. Yeah, we'll come back to this another time. So I have given it some thought. I've looked at like some reference images of like actual cranes from like the 1800s or so, and I think I want to finish this design first just to have it. But I also want to try a different design because like what I found from just looking at reference images is that like they weren't so different from what we have today. So we could try something a bit more modern in shape and construction. I do like the design of this. Like I think it could look really cool actually. If we have them on all of these piers, it'll look really cool. But I want to try an alternate design. But we're going to finish this first. So just going to continue extending this piece out over here. Is that going to be long enough? Yeah, I think that's about the right length. So just going to finish this up here. We're gonna have like tuff up here, serving as sort of rails, I guess, for the actual crane thing itself to be on. Okay, yeah, that actually looks pretty nice. Game's frozen. That's not as nice. Okay, we'll probably want some chains. Ooh, yeah, I forgot about copper chains. We want to do something those instead, or nah, I think we'll stick with iron. And then we'll want grindstones. Maybe like that. Let's make this actually out of blackstone, maybe? I've not used blackstone in a long time. Feels kind of thin and weak, but I also don't want to use walls because they're too thick. Maybe another brick fence. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Makes it just a little bit more substantial. What if we do alternating chains and fences? Yeah, that's pretty good actually. That gives the chain sort of shape to it, while also still having the substance of the fence. We've got to figure out the actual mechanism at the back here. Gonna have to kind of tear apart this actually to build the thing. Might be a good idea to do like a pulley and then have it connected to the ground down here. Okay, now that's done. Or done enough. We might come back to it. We might get rid of it entirely, depending on how this next part goes. We're going to design a second crane that functions more like one would expect a crane to function. So I'm going to build it off the ground a bit. I gotta figure out what to build this out of. I feel like a colored wood might be nice. I'm feeling less sure about the warped wood. I'm gonna stick with it for now. Maybe switch it with something else later. Okay, that later is now actually. I'm just gonna experiment with a bunch of different things here. Mud bricks are pretty good. What about mud bricks mixed with copper? I'm gonna do copper. I'd rather do it with regular packed mud, I think. Or that smoother color. And no, actually Actually, I want it to be more textured. I'm liking how that's looking. That's good shape. Gotta figure out how to get an actual crane out of this. Yeah, I'm quite liking the shape of the arm here. Okay, and then we have these like supporting cable going back this way. I kind of like it. See, now I'm actually kind of getting scared about having to choose between these two because they both have their merits. I think this has a bigger, more imposing shape that will work really well when it's in all 4 of the spots where cranes will be. But this one feels more real. It feels more well thought out because it was actually researched before I came up with the design. I don't know, it's tough. It's tough. I might put it up to you, the viewers, to decide. Oh, actually, I might replace mud with jungle. Blends about as well with the copper, but is slightly less textured while still being textured. Yeah, I think I prefer that. It's also more saturated, so it brings a bit more color into this. But this is gonna need an entrance to it, isn't it? That means we're gonna have to figure out kind of the actual mechanisms. Flush deep slate for 4. No, yeah, that's fine. I was gonna say I might use deep slate for like the mechanisms, but that's whatever. We can use tough for those. I kind of prefer a larger window here, but it kind of looks dumb. It's because of that blackstone there. Cover that up, maybe. Yeah, that looks good, but then I guess we can maybe try this. Yeah, that's neat. And then we can do some controls on the inside here, as well as like the actual mechanisms. This as like a gate. What? Okay. Apparently, one of, I don't know which building mod it is that does this. Okay. And then we just want to do a little entrance here. What the hell? What happened to the barrier block texture? That's weird. And there we go. That's our alternative crane design. And we've got 2. Got probably the more realistic, thought out one. I got the one that's big and chunky. I like them both. I'm struggling to decide. I'm gonna move them down into their proper spots just to see what they look like. These are our 2 crane designs. They both have their merits. I'm honestly struggling to choose, so if there's anybody who wants to comment and leave their suggestion for which we end up using, I'm all ears. I need help making a decision. But other than that, yeah, that's just gonna be it from me for now. I will see y'all maybe next week. If maybe we can keep this up. Maybe. Let's see. Bye-bye.